Hey, what's up guys? Joker here. Today we've got a couple of news stories to cover in the world of tech. The first is concerning the AMD Radeon VII, which has been out for close to 2 weeks now. However, the card is largely unavailable, which is pretty much backing up what the early rumors were saying concerning the limited availability of this card based on the fact that AMD was very likely earning a very small margin, even if that. And also, Metro Exodus, which has been out since last week, has now been cracked by the scene group CPY. So first off, we're going to start out with Radeon VII. As I said, launched a couple of weeks ago. It launched with very decent performance. It was competing with the likes of the RTX 2080 and performing about maybe 10 to 15% better than the now aged GTX 1080 Ti, which is still holding its own very well. Many could argue that it took almost 2 years for the Radeon VII to be able to catch up with the 1080 Ti to sell a card that is selling at the same price as the 1080 Ti when that card actually came out. However, if you are an AMD fan, this is probably going to be a card some of you might want, especially if you are a content creator using something like Adobe Premiere or Photoshop, which can obviously leverage the OpenCL performance of something like this graphics card and the 16 gigabytes of HBM2, despite the fact that it cost $700, which puts it on par, as I said, with the RTX 2080. However, if you are trying to buy this card, unless you were able to secure one on launch day very early, right after it launched, the chances of you getting this card seem to be slim to none, at least right at this time. Even on the very own AMD website, if you go over there right now, even though it doesn't say anything on the main page, you could try to add this to your cart. However, when you do that, it will basically tell you that you need to click this to notify me when the card is in stock because the shopping cart is empty, basically saying that AMD does not have a single Radeon VII available in the United States at the time of me recording this video for public to be able to actually purchase the card. And the same is true from third-party retailers over on Newegg. If you put in Radeon VII, you will find that every single variant of the Radeon VII, which are all reference models, but they do come from various sources like Gigabyte, PowerColor, Sapphire, XFX, ASRock, Asus, and MSI, which are all reference cards, but none of them are in stock over on Newegg. And it's not really the case of that this card is so popular that they're so sold out that nobody can get their hands on them. It's just the extremely limited availability. In some countries, they reported even having less than 20 cards once the card did actually launch. And some of the early rumors on this card basically said that there was going to be 5,000 or less units at launch, which AMD did actually deny. However, just a few days after launch, it was widely unavailable for pretty much any consumer out there that was trying to pick up a Radeon VII card, which is just really unfortunate, which is leaving many people to either decide to go to an RTX card, which are pretty readily available. You can find them very easily on Amazon, Newegg, other retailers, aftermarket cards, as well as reference cards directly from NVIDIA, which is just kind of giving credence to the whole thing, is that AMD might not really want to sell that many of these cards because they're not making a large profit. We know what the bill of materials is on the Radeon VII. The HBM2 in this card is extremely expensive, prohibitively for AMD to be able to make a profit in any significant margin on the Radeon VII, which is just kind of unfortunate because I know a lot of people out there that are fans of AMD would like to be able to get their hands on these cards, but they're just not available, and I don't really see this improving over time. I mean, we're still waiting to see aftermarket cards. I do have words from one add-in board partner that says they might have cards by as soon as March, but that's a little bit of a distance away, and just how many cards they'll have available, we just really don't know at this time. So that's kind of unfortunate, but if you were waiting to pick up a Radeon VII, let me know down in the comments below and maybe what your reasons are for waiting for this card to become available. Obviously, if you did want to use it for OpenCL and take advantage of the HBM2 on the card, that is a very good reason to pick up one of these. But when it comes to just strictly on gaming, there are cards, from NVIDIA that compete with this very directly. The RTX 2080, as I said, GTX 1080 Ti, which you can find on eBay for like $500. even at the time of me recording this video. So there are other options out there at this price point or even less that can perform on par with the Radeon 7. So I do hope AMD does get this sorted out in the near future, because it does seem like there is a decent amount of interest out there from people wanting to pick it up. But, you know, at this time, it's like, it's for even as me, like someone that is testing, I don't know what the hell that noise was. Even for someone like me that is testing this card, it has me questioning whether or not how much it is even worth me even putting my time into testing the Radeon 7, when you consider, let's say there was maybe 10,000 units at launch, and every single one of them was bought up by would-be gamers. You know, that might add up to like what, like 0.05% of actual gamers out there. So how much, you know, need is there for people needing to see this card tested? That's not going to stop me from testing it, but I'm just saying there's not a lot of people actually using these cards because there's just not many of them available. So there's really not much, you know, reason for us to even really test them out there in the market, which is just unfortunate, honestly. So, yeah. So moving on to Metro Exodus, which we have covered extensively on the channel with a performance review, as well as an optimization guide, taking a look at the performance impact of all of the different graphics options. You guys know that this game was originally available only on Steam, but then it was made exclusive to the Epic Games Store, and only people that had pre-ordered before that was decided would be able to get it on Steam. However, if you were one of those people that was waiting for it to get cracked, I can now report to you that it has officially been cracked. Denuvo 5.6 was cracked. The CPY Scene Group has cracked the Denuvo DRM on Metro Exodus, so if you are one of those pirates out there, you can go ahead and you can basically download this for free, and it won't be available on Steam generally until about next year, so that's kind of unfortunate, but this is just another chink in the armor of Denuvo, really, as this is their most advanced form of Denuvo with version 5.6, and has been cracked in just 5 days. And there is so much, you know, so many people out there that just hate Denuvo DRM because there's a lot of, you know, assumptions out there that it is impacting performance, possibly molesting your SSDs because of how it works and all of that. Unfortunately, this crack does not completely remove Denuvo DRM. It's just kind of a bypass, so Denuvo is still there, so the performance would be identical to, let's say, a non-cracked version of the game that you bought on the Epic Games Store, or if you were fortunate enough to pre-order on Steam, since the Epic Games Store is complete and utter garbage. There wouldn't be any performance difference there, but I do hope that at some point in the future that maybe 4A Games will actually remove Denuvo DRM, since it has been cracked like other games in the past. Once it was cracked, it was removed from the game completely, like Doom. So I do hope that we see that in the near future, and then maybe we can go back and take a look at the performance and see if there is any difference between having Denuvo on versus having Denuvo completely removed by the developers. But I'm going to go ahead and get on out of here, guys. Please let me know your thoughts, as always, down in the comments below on the AMD availability of the, I just hit myself in the head, of the Radeon 7 graphics card, as well as Denuvo 5.6 being cracked on Metro Exodus, if that's enough to make me maybe go out and pick it up once it is removed from the game, if in fact it is removed from the game. Hopefully it is, and we can actually see what the impact is on performance there, as that's been alluded to by many people, is that it does hurt the performance. Although with this particular game, I feel like it is really just the game being that taxing and using so many NVIDIA GIMPWorks features that it is holding the game back from performing as well as it possibly could. So I will see you guys down in the comments below. I'll see you tomorrow for another video. If you enjoyed this video at all, don't forget to leave a thumbs up on it down below. Subscribe if you're not already, and if you have been here for a while, please ring the notification bell. That way you never miss a moment of content here on the channel. And I'll catch you all tomorrow for another video. Ta-ra.